from the Montreal World Tour stop for MuchMusic.com. Motion City soundtrack just finished playing. We have one interview left for the day. I'm here with one of the most popular punk bands of the last decade. They just released an album titled This Addiction. I'm here with drummer of Alkaline Trio, Derek Grant. Now, you guys are one of the older bands on Warped Tour. Bands like you guys, Face to Face, Bouncing Souls, and whatnot. Being one of the elderly bands on Warped Tour now, as opposed to maybe 01 or 02 when you guys were doing it and whatnot. What's it feel like?
I mean, it's cool. It's nice to be a band, for so long and still feel relevant. I mean, it's like the fact that they still invite us to come out and be a part of Warped Tour is great. And we've got all the bands that you just mentioned are friends of ours, so it's a good opportunity for us to come out here and hang out with old friends and meet new bands and kind of see what's going on. Like, we're so busy, writing, recording, and touring that it's kind of hard to keep an eye on everything that's going on in the music industry. So it's cool to come out here and see all these other, these newer bands that we may not have heard of otherwise.
And, thus far, a few weeks into Warped Tour, what are some bands that you've discovered or maybe have seen a couple times now?
Mainly, I think we've all watched like our friends' bands. We're kind of like a support group. I had never seen Every Time I Die. Like I'd listened to the records. I'm a fan of the band, but being able to see them live has been really cool for me. And I know Dan as well. Like he saw one of their shows and he was blown away.
I saw too on the stage today, $100 per time somebody stands on the amps or jumps off them. So I mean, I don't know if that applies to Every Time I Die, but those guys jumped off the amps quite a few times today. It's even Dillinger's Gate bands like that. It's pretty crazy to see. And just talking about the music now, it's just the dark brand of heartfelt punk that you guys play. It's something now, maybe back into the late '90s, into the early 2000s, a bit more calm. But now it's you guys are really one of the only bands that are doing it. Starting out as a band and whatnot. How did you guys decide to go in this direction?
I think it was just a natural progression. I think Matt, who founded the band, I think he had a pretty specific idea of what he wanted to do, and and it was based in our influences, like the Misfits and the Damned, and the Ramones, Sex Pistols, stuff that was pretty simple, rock and roll or punk rock or whatever, but with maybe a little bit of a darker message. And then bands like Jawbreaker. Jawbreaker was a huge influence on us. Very heartfelt and honest lyrics, and I think just a combination of all of those influences, it's just sort of how it came out.
And talking about your new record now, This Addiction and whatnot, Matt Skiba said in an interview just prior to going into recording that you guys really wanted to go back to the basics on this record. And just upon doing the record and now being on tour for the record and whatnot, what was really the decision just to decide to go back to the basics and just go to square one all over again?
It was more the process of writing and recording that was like back to basics. It was like, we wanted to do something different and we wanted to do something simple. Working with so many different labels over the years and different producers and having a lot of the pressures that come along with that, it just overcomplicates things. And I think we had kind of gotten to the point where we were fed up with it, and we were also in a position where we didn't have a record label, so we were able to go and self-finance something, and we wanted to go back to Chicago, and we wanted to work with the engineer that the band used to work with at the studio that the band used to record at and try and capture some of the, I guess, that original kind of energy. As far as the songwriting's concerned, there was no conscious effort to write like old Alkaline Trio songs. It just happened to be the songs that we were writing, and it was also heavily influenced by all those other factors. So it was a pretty organic process.
Just talking more about the new record and whatnot, something that in past Alkaline Trio records, fire and destruction was a theme within some of the songs and whatnot, whereas on this new record, it talks about water and sinking on a few of the songs, Dead on the Floor, and Fine specifically, just to name two songs. Is this just sort of something that happened, or how did it exactly work out?
I don't know. I guess I never thought about that. Matt and Dan are the two lyricists of the band, so it's hard for me. I have my own interpretation of their songs and their lyrics, but that kind of question would really be, I guess, better geared towards those guys when unfortunately they're not here right now. But that's an interesting thing. It's definitely something I'll bring up to the guys, because that that those metaphors, the difference in metaphors between the older records and the new album is something that I don't think any of us had stopped and thought about. So
this addiction, going forth, and really a lot of people had thought with Alkaline Trio, Good Morning, I was always just to use another band's example, the Jane Doe, just like Converge, people always go back to that, it's no Jane Doe, that sort of stuff. So going into the recording of this addiction, a lot of people, just really not even really expecting anything from it, or sort of like putting a fork in you guys, thinking that the band was over. How do you guys sort of respond to that type of stuff?
I hate to think that people give up on us, but people change, their tastes change, and a lot of people have stuck by the band for a long time, through thick and thin, and that means a lot to us. And we've also seen in previous years a lot of older fans who kind of stopped paying attention to the band start showing up at shows. I mean, people that we recognize, from a long time ago, and people that have come up to us and said, I didn't care for your last couple of records, or I kind of wrote you guys off, but I really like the new record. And so, I mean, you take the good with the bad, but we're definitely we're going to continue to do what we do, and hopefully people like it.
Yeah, I think it's something too with a lot of people. It's not like to ever expect a band to write a part 2 to their most popular record. I think it's unreasonable. Bands have to expand and try different things, as opposed if every band just did that, remade their popular record over and over and over again, fans would get sick of it, the exact same way for sure. Now, stepping away from Alkaline Trio for a sec, Derek Grant meets the Reaper. Something so crazy to put, your 13-year-old voice to brand new music. Where'd you come up with this idea? I thought it was really fascinating.
Well, the stuff I did when I was a kid, all the Reaper stuff, anytime I've told people about that, or played people the original recordings, or played the songs, sometimes just sitting on the tour bus, I would grab a guitar, and Dan or Matt or somebody else would be like, I'll play one of those Reaper songs, and I would play it and everybody would get a kick out of it. So I went back to listen to those songs, and my original intention was to re-record everything and just update everything, maybe change some of the lyrics, because I wrote the lyrics when I was 12, so some of them are a little embarrassing. But as I was listening to the original recordings, I really liked the quality of the vocal tracks. All the music was recorded really poorly, but the vocals sounded pretty good. So with modern technology, I was able to bring all of that into a digital environment, and then re-record all the music. And as I started working on it, I realized that I was essentially collaborating. It's as if I was in a band with my 12-year-old alter ego, which was pretty cool, and it's sort of taken on a life of its own. At this point, a lot of people ask about it. I've got T-shirts and guitar picks and stuff like that. So, my 12-year-old alter ego would be ecstatic at the reception that the Reaper stuff has gotten. So.
A lot of kids that age are obviously playing guitars, drums, and whatnot. But writing your own music at such a young age, what was your influence just to begin writing your own music and recording and whatnot at such a young age?
It was just kind of out of boredom, and I was just learning how to play guitar. I had been playing drums for a long time. I started playing drums when I was 2, and I got kind of sick of playing drums, and I wanted to do something else, and I couldn't find people my age to play in a band. I mean, kids my age weren't interested in playing music, and older kids didn't want to hang out with 12-year-olds. So it was really difficult for me. So I basically had to learn how to play all the instruments myself, and I just started working on songs, very much influenced by, Misfits and Ramones, just very simplistic stuff. And I would just sit around reading comic books or watching horror movies, and then write songs about them. And, it just kind of evolved from there.
And just plans coming up after Warped Tour for Alkaline Trio. Are you guys going to be doing another fall headlining tour, or what do you guys have in mind?
We're figuring it out right now. We'll definitely do something in the fall. I don't know if it's going to be a co-headlining thing, or if we're going to do our own shows. We've got a couple ideas that we're throwing around, but we definitely, Warped Tour's kind of a long tour, so we'll take a little break after this and then do something in the fall.